year, Korea consumes approximately 4 billion servings of instant noodles, making us the country that eats the most amount of ramen per capita in the world. Everyone has their favorite brand that they swear by and a recipe, but I'm here to test every iconic Korean ramen to see who truly ranks the best. Wow. So I'm going to be judging the ramens under 3 categories. First is going to be the noodle consistency. Second is going to be either the sauce or soup flavor. And then third is topping / creativity. And at the end, we're going to determine all the way from S tier to bottom tier. Shin Ramen is the #1 bestseller in Korea and also the ramen that I grew up eating. Very simple instructions. You put the soup packet in, put boiling hot water until the demarcation line, and wait for 3 minutes covered. As for some of the toppings, we have little shreds of beef, green onion chunks, teeny tiny, red pepper, shiitake mushroom. I'm gonna show you a trick. You wanna fold top like this, fold it again, perpendicular, then it should create 4 slices. Push one of the slices inward to create a little cone, and you've got yourself a bowl. It's spicy. This is what a standard good ramen should taste like. Broth, definitely nostalgic for me. It's very clean and spicy taste to it. It's not too heavy. There's a subtle beef bone broth flavor going on, and this is what I crave a lot of nights before I go to sleep. In terms of toppings, to be honest, when I get the packet version of Shin Ramen, only put the soup packet in because personally, I'm not a biggest fan of the dehydrated stuff. Noodles, 8.5. Broth, 9 out of 10. Toppings, 2 out of 10. Jin Ramen. On the side, you can see BTS Jin on it. Jin Ramen existed before BTS Jin was probably alive, I think. I have to fact check. You know what's actually pretty cool? They have Braille on the side. I don't know if this was a little production mishap, but I didn't get a demarcation line. Ding, ding, ding. Will I be deducting points? I don't know. Not very convenient. Actually, my first time trying Jin. The noodles are a little bit more lighter in color compared to Shin Ramen. The noodles are more springy. The broth and the noodles are more oily. I like ramen noodles where they don't just straighten out like my hair. I want them to be wavy. But definitely, I am a little bit disappointed by the fact that there was no demarcation line. In terms of toppings, beef, shiitake mushroom, and green onion is just the standard. Definitely less spicy compared to Shin. Less of the black pepper notes as well. It's more mild. I can see why this is really, really popular for all ages. Noodles, a 9 out of 10. Broth, 7 out of 10. And topping, giving it a 2 out of 10. Don't mind toppings, deal with it. Samyang Ramen. This is the first instant noodle invented in Korea, so it is a very historic and an old standing brand. It even says here, Korea's first Samyang Ramen. Let's give it a try. The color of the seasoning is very orange. I can see why they chose orange to be their color. It also says Samyang Ramen's secret ham. Oh, little sausages! I really, really, really like the broth a lot. If you like ham, like me, you would love this. The creaminess and the smokiness almost that comes from the ham is unbeatable. And I like the toppings a lot. The noodles are really thin, so it has a really, really nice mouthfeel. I am pleasantly surprised. I always thought that Samyang Ramen was, no offense, like an old person thing. I'm giving the noodles a 9.2 out of 10. Broth, a 9. 7 for topping. Neoguri. Neoguri just translates to raccoon, which is the mascot that you see right here. Here I can see a little bit of fish cake and a little squid and green onion along with beef. It also says it uses Korean clean dashima, which is kelp. Whoa! Big kelp! I like this. It's already getting originality points in toppings. The color of the sauce packet is a bit more reddish brown. This ramen is also very, very famous and it got a big resurgence because of Parasite. Whoa, but these noodles are thick. Like these are the thickest noodles that we've seen so far. But they're retaining a lot of the curl, so it looks really good. Wow. Wow, a very different flavor profile from all the rest of the ramens that we've tried. What I really like about this ramen is this seaweed. Look at this gigantic piece of kelp. This tastes of the ocean, but not in like a fishy way, but in a deep umami way. This is pretty impressive. Oh, you can see big chunks of fish cake. Wait, there's a raccoon in here. Tastes like a fish cake. Love the broth. High points for the toppings. Noodles. Yeul Ramyeon. This means heat, very clearly shown by the peppers. I have a feeling that this is gonna be pretty spicy. Also, new toppings alert. There are dehydrated octopus. We're seeing the easy lock again, along with the braille. Definitely a lot more red in color, and you can see some of the chili flakes too. Whoa! I got a good whiff of very, very spicy smell coming up. Oh, this is by far the spiciest smelling ramen that we've encountered. And as for the toppings, shiitake mushroom, green onion. I don't see no octopus here. Somebody's lying. Surprisingly, not as spicy as I would have expected. There's nothing that stands out to me and it's a little bit greasy. I'm giving the noodles a good 9 out of 10. Broth, I'm giving it a 6. Toppings, pretty generic. Giving it a 2 out of 10. Ottogi man, you gotta figure your stuff out. You make great ketchup, but I don't think ramen is your strong suit. No offense. Yukgaejang. My dad was also talking about how the idea of being able to eat ramyeon in a cup was just revolutionary back in the days. And it has a very retro packaging. Very, very different from all the instant ramen that we've seen so far is that the noodles are ultra thin. So Yukgaejang is actually a name of a spicy shredded beef soup in Korean, and this ramyeon is one of those that you go for drunchies because it feels naughty. The broth is a completely different color. It's just brown, straight up. For the toppings, little fish cakes, green onion, little bites of egg. I like thin noodles. I think I've made it very clear by now. I like thin noodles because it creates a party in my mouth. They mingle and twinkle together. However, if you're a little slow and yapping like I am now to you guys because I love you. Yeah, like immediately you can see this overcooking and losing that springiness. That is very salty actually. It's salty and beefy. Noodles, 8 out of 10. Broth, 4 out of 10. Toppings, 6 out of 10. I like the egg and the fish cakes, but nothing too special. Yukgaejang, I love you only when I'm drunk. This next one was my favorite when I was growing up. It is Sesame Ramen. Sesame oil to Koreans is like olive oil to Italians. We can't live without it. In the center, there's the egg yolk, there's some carrots, beef, green onion, sesame seeds, and noodles. Da-da-da! Now we're getting to some interesting toppings finally. First, you put the soup packet in. Next, you have the yellow egg block. And you also put this in before. And the third is a spicy sesame aromatic oil, you put it after to preserve the most of its aroma. There's a immediate, like, very eggy smell. Definitely a lot lighter in color in terms of the broth. And now goes in the aromatic oil. And look at this. Look at the beautiful color of this red sesame oil mingling with the broth. Noodles, definitely a little bit on the thinner side. This one, compared to all the other noodles that we've gotten so far in Ottogi, they have a tendency to clump. There's strong sesame flavor coming through. I like the egginess, and the little sesame bits that are rising to the top is a nice textural component as well. Sesame Ramyeon, you're an important part of my childhood, but one that's gonna stay in the past. Noodles, 6 out of 10. Broth, 7 out of 10. But a topping, a 10 out of 10. Ojingeo, Jjampong. So Ojingeo translates to squid in Korean, and Jjampong is a seafood broth that's made with chicken stock. We were cheated out of our octopus earlier with Yeul Ramen. No octopus to be found. So let's see if Ojingeo Jjampong will actually have squid, or at least taste like it. A lighter color soup packet. There is an intense seafood smell that's coming up as soon as I poured the water in. I think it's ready. Ooh, the noodles are medium thickness for this one. It's the most similar to Shin Ramen noodles. It looks pretty much the same to me. Oh, squid! Tiny squid! You know it's squid because you can see the little suction pads. What the hell? It's squid! Oh, wow. Wait, actually, because it's jjampong, it also has cabbage. Topping-wise, very impressive that they actually put squid inside the ramen. Broth is like a squiddy version of Shin Ramen. I would say this ranks pretty high. Noodles, I'm giving it an 8. Broth is an 8. And toppings is also an 8. A solid overall 8. I ate that. Like, quite literally. Is that how you use it? Tempura udon. Now, you might be thinking, wait, that's udon, not ramyeon. No, it's a tempura udon ramyeon. Does that make sense? You can see it's an oden broth along with tempura flakes that are floating to the top. Look how massive these toppings are. You can even see in the sauce packet little chunks of dried seaweed. The smell is really, really great. It smells of deep, nice dashi stock. You can see also that the noodles here are a bit more curly. It seems more dried than it is fried. This time I'm gonna try the topping first. It's a dried squid tempura topping. This is the best part about this ramen. Wow. That is a really, really nice dashi stock. You can even see little red pepper flakes floating to the top. I can see why this has a little bit more udon consistency compared to all the other ramens that we've had, because it's a little bit more chewy. You can also see some really big seaweed chunks. And I think seaweed is one of those toppings that just rehydrates incredibly well. You can also see these gigantic pieces of Naruto fish cake. It's 10 out of 10 for topping. Broth, sipping on this on a cold winter day, straight 9 out of 10. Noodles, however, could use some improvement. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Nagasaki Jjampong. I don't know if this dish actually exists in Nagasaki. If anyone lives in Nagasaki, let me know. It's a beautiful packaging that they have. They have a almost like Japanese-esque wooden panel along with the soup. There's mussels and clams and shrimp. This looks really, really good. It smells really good, actually. It's less fishy than the squid jjampong one that we just opened. Okay, I think it's ready. Wow. The broth is very, very creamy and opaque. The noodles are quite yellow and it's a medium length, but it looks very, very good. It's still retaining a lot of that bounciness, which I like to see. Wow, the noodles are really, really nice in this one. The broth is actually quite spicy. And that's something that I didn't expect because it's not red, but it's a little bit more of a green spice that's coming through. Oh, and you can also see squid in this one. Because it's a jjampong, it also has cabbage. I feel like this is the fresher, less heavier version of the tempura udon that we just tried. And if you want something that's lighter on the stomach, I would recommend this one. Noodles, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Broth, 7. Topping, 7. 오늘은 내가 Jjapaghetti 요리사. Jjapaghetti. So Jjajangmyeon is one of the most iconic Korean Chinese foods, and it's black bean noodles with a Korean twist, so it's a little sweeter. And because it's black bean noodles, obviously the sauce packet is also going to be looking like Milo. I would say this and Shin are the top 2 best-selling instant ramyuns in all of Korea. And you can see the big chunks of like meatballs that are rising to the top. So I'm a huge Jjapaghetti fan, but I've never had it in instant ramen version. I think the best part about Jjapaghetti that it's really salty. It sticks on to the noodles like a regular jjajangmyeon would, but it becomes a little bit too soupy for me. I despise the toppings on Jjapaghetti, so I never ever put them in. The meatballs for me are way too spongy, and it tastes like what I imagine a nipple would taste like. It's shaped like one, it looks like one, it's a little bit airy. I don't like it. Jjapaghetti, noodles, 7. Sauce, 4. Toppings, 1. I'm sorry. The iconic Buldak noodles. I feel like this is the ramen that's the most recognized worldwide. There are so many different flavors out there, but this was the cup noodle that started it all. It's also one of the only ramens where the sauce packet is liquid, not dry. And the instructions on how to make this are written right here. You first take out the sauce packet, pour enough water until the line, pour out all the water. Sounds like I'm peeing. And then add in the sauce along with the toppings as a garnish. And the flakes comprise of whole sesame seeds and seaweed flakes. The smell of it is really smoky and incredible. In terms of presentation and how the ramen is constructed, there's a lot of attention to detail. Man. Can I get the water? I'm Korean, but this is even spicy for a Korean. But it's like one of those spices that's very delicious at the same time. I think in terms of noodle texture, Samyang is the best. In terms of the sauce, if you like spicy, this is gonna be it for you. But I am what you call a 맵찔이, a spice loser. But topping, I really like that the sesame and the seaweed was in a separate packet. Noodles, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Sauce, an 8. And topping, a 9. I like that it's simple, but well executed. Buldak, I love you. Buldak Carbonara. I would say Buldak Carbo is probably even more popular than the original itself, at least here in Korea. The reason is, it's less spicy. And if you take a look at these noodles, they look much more similar to fettuccine. And actually, what's really interesting is the instructions. So it says, take out the sauce packets, then add hot water until the demarcation line and wait 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, reserve around 6 spoons of water and put the liquid sauce along with the dry sauce packet. And it also says that if you put the sauce mix on top of the carbonara as it cooks for 4 minutes, it's gonna result in a deeper tasting carbonara. Smells so cheesy and creamy, but also spicy at the same time. I would say these noodles are definitely much more similar to that of a pasta. It looks almost healthy. I love garbo Buldak. Creamy, saucy, and I love the texture of the noodles. It really understood the assignment to what would be the best in this vessel. The sauce is killer. The noodles, the texture, everything, to me, this gets high points. Noodles, I'm giving it 9.5 out of 10. Love the texture. Sauce, I'm giving it a 9. And topping, well, it doesn't have topping, but does it really need to? An 8. Sometimes less is more. Kok 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 Spaghetti, which means to stab spaghetti. A little brutal if you translate it into English, but in Korean it sounds kind of cute. It says includes olive oil, sour and sweet spaghetti with nutty cheese powder, tok, which is to sprinkle. Am I stabbing this or am I not stabbing this? Wait a second. There's just a lot going on. I'm sure they made this to be thoughtful, but I'm stressed. Very faint demarcation line for the water. Oh, looks like teeth, but it's corn. We have one wet, and then we also have the dry sauce packet. So these ones are just regular ramen noodles. You're supposed to do this, but they changed over to this. Pretty high tech, actually. That was impressive. We have our piss water. Spaghetti sauce, along with the dry soup packet. Oh, interesting color. Whoa, very sour acidic smell that just rose to the top. Okay, I was expecting like Filipino spaghetti, like. But it's not sweet. It tastes like vinegared tomatoes. Let me have some of the toppings. Corn, surprisingly sweet. The little chunks of beef. Not great. This is my first time trying it, but would I try it again? No. Noodles, 5. Sauce, 2. Topping, 4. I'm really curious how Kevin's gonna react to this. Okay, this is Kevin. This is...
It's just tasting like a pasta with ketchup.
Sorry. Paldo Bibim noodles. I think this was the first noodle to introduce wet sauce packet actually in Korea. Oh, noodles are quite thin actually for this one. And you know me, I like thin noodles. It's a dark red sauce with little sesame seeds embedded in. It smells like a really good bowl of bibimbap. With this brand, it's all about customization. Like you have to put a boiled egg in, Korean barbecue, or some pork belly. I've actually never had this just as is. Very thin noodles. Smell is very nice. One thing I noticed though, there are chunks of seaweed flakes and sesame seeds embedded within the ramen. I know visually this looks very similar to Buldak, but it has completely different flavor profile. It's acidic, it's a very strong taste of gochujang flavor. This is much more acidic and fresh. I want to make that be known. Very tasty, but I have a feeling even if I finish all of this, I'm still gonna be hungry afterwards. Sauce, 7 out of 10. Noodles, I like the noodles a lot. 8.5. Topping, I think it could have done a little bit more. Right now, like the seaweed is very wet. It kind of gets lost, quite literally, in the sauce. Topping, a 5. Paldo. Shin Ramen's new Toomba ramen. Shin has been a household reigning king in terms of brothy ramyuns in Korea, and they recently came out with the Toomba, and I've been meaning to try it, and now I'm trying it. It's somewhere in between a pasta and an instant ramyun, and in terms of the package directions, take the sauce packets out, add water until the demarcation line, and after 3 minutes, poke a hole on the top of the lid and pour out all the water and add the sauce, mix and enjoy. This smells like cheese puffs. Follow the instructions 1-to-1, but these are definitely a little bit harder to mix, very dry. Tastes like a spicy cheese puff, which is not bad. It's actually very nice. Oh, garlic. That's nice. I really feel like this is one of those dishes where if the instructions were a tiny bit more clear, it could have ended in a much better result. But right now, the sauce is a little bit too thick. It's not really creamy and coating the noodles very well. I feel like with the toppings too, it's almost identical to Shin Ramen. Noodles, I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. Sauce, 5 out of 10. Toppings, still 2. I don't like Shin topping. Sorry. Wang Ttukkeong, which translates to King Lid. On it is Korea's most famous athlete, Faker. And it also says next to him, King of Legend. I've never tried this. So it says if you use your hand and run it through the edge, it's much easier to open. Oh, it kind of released itself. How's that possible? So this comes from the same noodle company as the Bibim noodles. And you can tell because the noodles look the same. And this one is kimchi flavored. Whoa! It's dehydrated kimchi flakes. I mean, it is very easy. It keeps warm, but I don't know why. I don't like the packaging. But packaging aside, it's the taste that matters. Thin noodles, I like it. Wow, it smells very, very strong of kimchi. The broth smells really good. It smells like homemade kimchi soup. Noodle texture is great. It's thin, it's slurpable, it doesn't tangle up. There's a surprising nice ginger flavor coming through from the kimchi broth. Noodles texture, I'm giving it a 9. Broth, solid 8 out of 10. Topping, nice kimchi flavor, 8 out of 10. This is a really, really great ramen. Because it has a lid, it can keep warm for longer too while you game. Kimchi Dosirak. Dosirak in Korean means packed lunch, so this is called kimchi packed lunch. This was also one of the first instant ramens to be released, and it even says Dosirak since 1986. These really became a hit, especially with mukbangers. This is also the only ramen that is served in a square. And again, this one is kimchi flavored. The noodles are the same Paldo noodles that we've seen throughout. Every single ramen so far has been super different. I am surprised at how different the tastes are, the noodle texture and the broth. Now I'm starting to recognize different patterns from each brand, and that itself is super fascinating. Very watery in texture, even more diluted out than the King Ttukkeong that we just tried with Faker on. This tastes more closer to a conventional ramen with a hint of kimchi. I personally think that the King kimchi lid tastes much better, whereas this, it's also a tiny bit more oily. There's nothing that special that's coming out. Noodles, solid 9. Topping, kind of nowhere to be found actually, 5 out of 10. I really liked how with the earlier ramen from Paldo, I liked that it had a lot of kimchi flakes in a separate packet, whereas this feels a tiny bit lacking. Broth, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. Budae-jjigae Ramyeon. This brand is actually not from the top 4 companies that are known to make ramen. It's from GS, which is a convenience store chain. You can see kimchi, ham, baked beans, mushroom, and greens. Whoa! By far, it was the heaviest instant ramen that we've had so far. What the heck? It looks like apricot jam. Okay, this goes in. Ah, it's because of the baked beans! They definitely put a lot of money into packaging and food research. It's the same thin noodles that we've seen from Paldo. I'm becoming like a ramen investigative journalist. Oh, it's definitely Paldo noodles. I had really, really high hopes for this, especially because the sauce packet with the ham smelled really nice and smoky. But as soon as the water went in, all that smokiness kind of got lost. We've seen a little bit of cabbage, but this looks like bok choy. Tastes pretty good too. Our precious little, very brown ham. I'm sorry, but that was just nasty. We have a half sausage. I don't like it. It just tastes weird, man. Would I ever buy this again? No. The broth is a little bit too sweet. It kind of is missing something. Noodles, 8 out of 10. Broth, 3 out of 10. Topping is getting a -1 out of 10. It looked the most impressive from the packaging. Dasida Ramyeon. Dasida is Korea's Ajinomoto, the brand for Korea's MSG. It's a housewife's best friend and a little secret. It is hers, Young. Oh, this makes me cry. That is very touching. It's 100% by Paldo. Oh yeah, it's by Paldo. Oh, inside we have the dried topping, the dried sauce packet, and last but not least, Dasida. Wrong t-shirt to be wearing. Go buy Oji Kimchi, please. Doobimart.com. The biggest chunk of beef I've seen in instant ramen so far. I think inevitably, like any sort of dehydrated beef is just not gonna be nice. But it looks pretty though. Noodles, same old, good old Paldo noodles. Whoa, it's delicious. And I know that there is a lot of MSG in all the other ramen brands, but this tastes of just MSG. My mouth is zinging right now. Noodles 8, soup 4 out of 10, and topping impressive, but 1 out of 10. Last but not least, acidic squid noodles that also happen to be purple. That also happen to come from the brand that only really deals with poultry, Harim. What the helly? This looks freaky. Let's try. As for how to make this, so you need to put in the topping packet and pour in water until the demarcation line. 4 minutes after, get all the water out. Then you need to put cold water and then need to rinse it 3 to 4 times. Try and get as much moisture as possible and then put the sauce in and mix. I got tired just reading that. I can see why they asked you to rinse the noodles a couple times in water because it really brings out that bouncy texture that you need. Is it still clumping? Unfortunately, a little bit, yes. But the sauce is actually really, really good. It tastes of real apples and onions. It tastes quite healthy, but it's not bad. I like the sauce in this better than from Paldo's iconic Bibim ramen. In terms of taste, this is pretty good. Noodles are also pretty good. Just needs a tiny bit more work on sauce. For the toppings, we have some squid. Surprisingly pretty good. Noodles, if I was colorblind, I would actually really like this. I'm giving it a 8 out of 10. Sauce, 7 out of 10. And topping, 5 out of 10. Okay, we're at the final part of the video where we're determining who ranks the best. For number 1 in noodle category, Samyang. I love the different textures and the different types of width and bounciness and the creativity that was in Samyang's noodles. And overall, it understands how each noodle should be in different sauces. As for sauce and flavor, Neoguri. The dashi-based stock and the seaweed was so good. I had never tried it. I always had a weird prejudice against the cartoon. Now it's gonna be the brothy ramen of my choice moving forward. If there can only be one winner overall, I'm gonna do joint for Buldak and Neoguri. Buldak is when I'm feeling like a little naughty girl, and Neoguri is for the days where it's kind of cold outside and during winter time and I want to heat up with some nice deep broth. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Oh, and if you're wondering what is behind me, it is a wall of ramen from around the world that you guys have sent over when I posted an Instagram story. Thank you to everyone who sent over these packages. I will be reviewing them maybe in a couple of months. I had my fair share of ramen for now, but we're still collecting some, and if you want to see your country's ramen up on the wall and for me to try it, send us a message. Okay, bye-bye! Love you! Korean hat! Go check out merch.